maybe the corner.
All right, folks, welcome to 𝗍𝗏𝐻𝐶𝗀𝗏. I'm joined once again with Dannion Brinkley, bringing the boxes of knowledge. I got to say, Dannion, and I say this about a lot of guests, oh, he's saying it again, but really, truly, my audience loves you. You've died and come back. You died and came back. You crossed over. You were struck by lightning. How many times is it? 2 or 3 times? Was it twice? Twice. Okay. Twice, and you've seen the other side, and you've come back with good news saying, hey, this isn't it, folks. There's way more to life than just what we see here in this physical realm. It goes on. It goes beyond. And you were given knowledge of what is happening today, what is happening in the healthcare system, the government, everything is what happening today. You've gotten knowledge on this. This happened to you in the 70s, and everything is playing out the way you saw it, correct?
Exactly. This is what's so amazing about right now. I mean, people who know my story, I've been dead so many times, it's hilarious. But these boxes of knowledge, these angels or these beings of light. What are you laughing at?
No, it's just you've been dead so many times, it's hilarious. It's like I'm laughing because I guess it is.
I mean, think about it. Think about this. Struck by lightning, dead for 28 minutes. Then open heart surgery. Then brain surgery. Then open heart surgery. Then clinically resuscitated twice. That's 3 death experiences and 3 near-death experiences. And I've been a hospice volunteer for 48 years. And I've been at the bedside of more than 2,000 people going from this world to the next world. If you take that realm of knowledge and you look at it as a body to observe reality from, it's as grounded as it can be. And then you take the vision, David, the boxes of knowledge, and I've been able to watch reality for 50 years. Okay? And I wrote it down in 1993 in Saved by the Light. I wrote it originally in 1977, The Boxes of Knowledge. We put it in Saved by the Light in 1993 because people had to have a chance to see if we kept doing the same thing we were always doing, this is where we would be. There is 5 years left to the vision, and that's it. And the goals of 2030. That is where all of this packs itself into a head. What has happened in 2025 is that it is like a vantage point where, as we're, I guess you'd say, astrophysically, quantumly, and things that I don't really understand, as the Earth is changing and shifting and all the things that are occurring. When you can see Aurora Borealis in Pennsylvania, David, when you can see Aurora Borealis in Pennsylvania, where is solar flares and where
nobody's talking about this
because they know what it means. That's why on your show we cover it.
But Dannion, I had a download, man, and one morning I woke up and it was like a cinder block hit me. Solar flares, they're gonna hit, and I don't know when. Now. I just don't know when. I guess you would have more of an idea.
Wait, it's happening now. It's happening now. Listen to what I just said. When you have Aurora Borealis, which is the northern flares, which happens in Norway, that means true magnetic north has moved. That's what it means. If true magnetic north is moving, where was it moving to? Well, it's from left the North Pole and is now in Siberia.
Moving south.
It's now in Siberia.
Jeez.
Okay, so we've taken that into alignment of what is occurring and looking at where the world is based on the boxes of knowledge. We have a rare opportunity to expose the fraud and just the pettiness of all of this, but the real historical lies that have been perpetrated on us if we stay focused on certain things, David. so that we don't recreate the boxes of knowledge, what the visions were that gave me the future prophecies, because nothing is carved in stone, they said, was based on if we keep doing the same thing we've always been doing, wars and Vietnam and bribing and orange revolutions and all of that, this is what we're going to get. And this is where we are today.
Do you see the Trump effect happening? Do you see this changing? Can we change our future?
I believe.
Or is he part of it, Dannion?
I believe without any question, and this is a personal viewpoint, David. I believe that when you reduce it down to Donald Trump, I am thankful to him. I'm thankful to him. But the people who are behind this and how they are executing the exposure, it's brilliant. I would have to say they were old men. They would be my age, not very many older than me, but my age or a little younger. But at the pace at which they are positioning algorithms and at the pace that they put kids into play to execute certain algorithms who never see the big picture, then I can pace their age, what age they are. But it's brilliantly executed. It's brilliant. My problem, and why I wanted to do this show, is we have to stop as a nation and look at all the stuff that's being played against us and know that it's a part of a package, okay? And realize the whole tariff business is about a setup, about reestablishing some kind of reset or banking, okay? Then you have to look. I
thought it was to take away from the IRS, part of it.
Watch. If you're going to reset, if you're going to reset the banking system, you have to create an alternative and plant that alternative in place. When you start talking, like we said the last time, David, when you start talking about the now it's our central bank, but where is the gold?
Well,
where is the gold? Where is the IRS? Where is our central bank? Where is all that? And then you're talking about a balance of tariffs. That means the economic system of the Brentwood-Dunwoody system from 1944 and the Swiss system is about to change. It's about to change. The boxers of knowledge said, as Russia goes, so shall go the world's economy. Okay, so right now, all that is in play in our eyes. Okay, so it's bigger and more powerful in the change to expose what's going on so that we don't keep doing what we've always done and end up in a frickin' world war. Okay, let's say the system was collapsing and we owe $37 trillion. Where is Europe? Europe is collapsing. So what would Europe be doing based on we knowing Europe? They would be trying to conquer Russia. The same thing that Napoleon did, the same thing that Hitler did. Why? If you have a collapsed economy, socialist structured, you have a collapsed economy, you march toward Russia, the oil fields, the natural minerals, the food, all the stuff that's in the Ukraine. So right there watching that and watching the Middle East, we still sit at the precipice of a world war. We sit there. And what do we do about it? We do the things that we did before, David. When we had this conversation, so many of this audience made that call to their congressman and made that call to their senator and left the message that I am against war. I am a constituent of you, and I'm calling you that I'm against war. It doesn't kill us to do this. I know your people
against all war, even the one that's happening in the Middle East right now.
We're against
which they don't want you talking about.
Well, because it is horrible, but we're against it. We're against it. Okay? That's our subject. We are being vocal and being able to be against it. The same thing as the voting power and whoever won. And then number two comes the thing that bothers us the most, and that you and I have had the lead on this, is child trafficking. And if they keep doing in certain federal agencies the same thing that they've been doing, then what will happen is a horrifying revolution of observation of something no one wants to think about or see.
Well,
But it will.
I gotta say, Dan, and you were the first one, to my knowledge, to bring this out about the 300,000 or 350,000. I don't know the correct number, but it was over 300,000 children that are missing. And then all of a sudden, you even told me, you said, you want to jump on this now? This is going to be huge. We were the first podcast to break that, and it's because of you. And
because of you and your audience making a difference. Because right now, by being against this, because the Epstein files already proves that this is something so big. It is so big, and where it is, and where all the federal connections are in it, and you are in possession of the contracts.
This is where it's dangerous. This is where people look at you like you're a conspiracy nut. I mean, maybe not so much anymore because of Trump, what Doge is unveiling and all that, but people need to understand this word right here. Activists holding DC rally to urge Trump administration to address child trafficking epidemic caused by this big one right here. Shows that everybody's involved. People that we thought we could trust, everybody's involved. It's big business. And it just shows me just how demonic this world truly is, Dannion.
Well, the battle for the souls of humankind will be fought in healthcare. I've said this now for 50 years. I am proud of you, David, and I'm proud of your audience, but it's about at a point where we just have to stop and look at where the children are. And what happened to those? I tracked 34,000 of them from the time that from Mayorkas turned them over to Health and Human Services. I started tracking them then. It's probably been 3 years.
And Dannion, you said this is the reason they want World War III as well, right? Because this is it. This is becoming uncovered. So they need to start World War III. Am I right? You said that, correct?
I'll say it again. How could it be anything else? Why do you think we cover those two topics right off the bat? If we're aware of what they're doing to have to start a war, then we look at why they're doing it. Well, if we as constituents are making the phone call and saying, hey, look, I'm against war, and I hear all this stuff about child trafficking, and I want to know about it. Then you start looking at the programs like Child Protective Services, and you look at that and seeing what's being exposed now about those kinds of things, which still come under a arm of a federal government, Health and Human Services. It's how close war is, David, and it's how close exposure is.
Dan, we must. I have friends that jump from foster homes. I remember being a young kid, and there was a kid that lived down the street in a foster home, and I know for a fact he was abused, right? And I have friends now that just some have passed away. Some have passed away in their 20s. But there's one that's, I think he's in his early 30s. He's trying to get his life right, but he just can't seem to figure it out. But he was in foster care in different houses, and he said every single house, every single one of them, he was abused. And I'm talking sexually. So
look where we are. So when people think that we could not be at war, you think about the Europeans, you think about where they are and what they're going to have to face. All things done in darkness will one day come to light. And if it's not held in integrity, then we're watching the end product. And this is the exciting part about AI, David. The bureaucrats who constructed whole ways and patterns to block from releasing information have no chance against an algorithm that can plot it from the day it was conceived. From the very day that first grant and that first contract went out through General Services Administration. I understand how the government works. I have a side of me that worked for the government. I worked within and for various parts of the government.
I really wish you could disclose that to my audience.
Well,
he's not such a nice guy, folks. I'm just kidding.
Well, it takes away from what my mission is now.
I know.
It turns into that thing, but it takes away. But I have some funny stories.
Oh, I've heard of.
some of them,
Yeah.
but the point is that when we catch our breath right now, and if this stuff is true, that means there is a quiet spiritual revolution that we're a part of. And being a part of that quiet spiritual revolution and seeing that these things are occurring. I'm watching the solar flare activity, and it is increasing. And we did this 2 years ago or 3 years ago about neutrino bombardment. And now it's on NASA's talking about it. Here they are talking about it.
Okay, you're saying solar flares, man-made or will be natural from the sun?
They will use it. The reason we put it out there, David, was they would use that to control and manipulate. When you hit 5 and 6 generations, you have literally microwave capability. And look at all of a sudden, NASA's setting it up. It's happening. You cannot artificially create the aurora borealis in Pennsylvania. Okay. You can't quite CGI that.
So that really is okay. That, so hold on. That's really coming from the sun. I mean, it's not.
Yeah. Solar flares.
So they're, but I mean, what I'm asking here, I guess, is will it come from the sun? Or are they just going to use it as an excuse to pull the plug, so to speak? And remember, we're on Fluff Tube, so keep it clean. And then, folks, we're going to be on Nino's Corner.tv talking about this in depth. Go ahead.
Yeah, the answer is true. We know it's going to happen. I have already seen it. I've already seen it. The boxes of knowledge. Anybody who looks at Saved by the Light and anybody who looks at the boxes of knowledge written in 1977, put in the book 30 years ago.
I'm not questioning that. I'm not questioning that. I'm saying who's going to do it. Is it going to be a natural occurrence or is it going to be?
It will be. It will be a natural occurrence, and every one of us will be using it. Every one of us will be using it.
What does that mean for humanity? Does this throw us back into the Stone Age? I mean, what does that mean? Is it just, are the lights off for a little while? Do people burn and turn in flames? Or, I mean, what does this look like? Takes out our communications. What are we looking at here? What's the magnitude? Millions die?
To show us how fragile we are without working together. How fragile we are and how powerful and arrogant and egotistical we are and what we think we know and how we know everything. Just like Pompeii, there comes a moment when you have to face how fragile you are in the divine plan as it is unfolding, doing what it's doing, like the birth of a new age. Here it is. Here's what it's doing. Here it goes. What happened between 1730 and 1805? What happened to American history there? I find so many flaws, David, when I look at a world history from that point of view, then it's just a packaged pack of lies. Okay, so when cleansing comes as it's coming, and you see how vulnerable you are, that's the time to put yourself straight, sane, and right, just like preparing for it. I talk about it, I'm ready. I mean, I believe what I have watched for all these years, and people need to pay attention. But the thing that's the most important part is we have a chance, everybody. We have a chance to make that phone call. I'm against war and I'm against child trafficking, and I want to get to the bottom of it. My name is, and I'll vote for you, watching what you do based on these two things. And I'm asking you to write me and mail me everything that you do based on defending that I'm against war and that I'm against child trafficking. Then it will come, David, right at where we want it. They politically have to bring it to the front of the list instead of waiting to the end, because I promise you, they're going to stack everything. And this is those people understanding they're fighting satanic forces. These are people understanding that they have to hold the big one to the last, to where it's the last, so that they put everything else in place.
The big one for the last. You're talking about the solar flare.
I'm talking about Health and Human Services.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
The solar flare. You've told me that a solar flash is going to happen in 2025. That's when you think it's going to happen. Are you going to say? Are you going to? That's this year. Are you saying this year? Are you saying 2025 to 2030? I mean, my audience gets on me when I start predicting.
I'm saying now. I'm predicting. I'm not predicting it. I'm saying now it will be evident.
What do you mean, man?
If you
I can
see
wake
the
up tomorrow and it can
aurora,
happen? Like what do you?
I'll say this again, David. Listen, if aurora borealis is in Pennsylvania and it's supposed to be in Norway, that's a precursor.
No.
Here we go, everybody. Everybody wants something. Power and maneuvering and manipulation is subtle. You watch all the things that come across the news, and all of those are played, planned, and props to elicit reaction. Okay, and knowing that that's what they're doing, we stay steady on two courses. We're against war, and we're against child trafficking. And we call them up and we tell them that.
But if a solar flare is going to hit us, I mean, what the fuck? I mean, what do you do? I mean, what do you tell my Christian audience? For me personally, I look at this and I go, man, well, at least I have my faith. I can't stop a solar flare. I mean, what am I going to call Congress and tell them to stop it? I mean, what does it matter? Nothing. Everything else pales to that, Dannion.
Well, I say that solar flares are going to come and they're going to go. I'm going to say that solar flares come and they're going to go. And let's say this. Let's say because of how electricity operates in our awareness right now, based on controlled manipulation of the system. When a solar flare happens, the awareness of ethereal and other forms of energy become obvious. And because of the need to power a system that is structured, the brilliantness of the human mind will easily find a way to power it. Never not believe in who we are as great, powerful, and mighty spiritual beings. All this stuff is nonsense, David, because that evil has a chance to control a creative power that identifies itself through us in a divine physical realm. And to be able to control and manipulate us is some kind of game that they're playing. And we live in fear of what some people say death, but we're not really in fear of death. We're in fear of being helpless and being alone. These are the two factors that control reality, because in the divine levels, which I have visited so many times, there is no such thing as being helpless and alone. It does not exist. So to come to this level of consciousness and to have to physically and consciously imagine yourself as a physical being, you have to believe that you're a physical being. You're a spiritual being, having to believe that you're a spiritual being, and then having to believe that you're going to be helplessness and alone. And that is true talent, David.
Yeah, you're right.
That's magnificence, everybody. That's magnificence.
I was watching on some YouTube video about physics, and it was talking about the electron microscope and how it was able to look at atoms. And it showed a piece of metal, and they zoomed in on the metal, and you could see the atoms holding the structure together, right? That is incredible. That just shows you nothing is solid. Nothing is truly solid.
Yeah. It's empty space.
It's empty space.
Molecules. There's all empty space.
We're not really here. It looks physical, right? But we're just being held together by these atoms, and what's really inhabiting this body?
We make it do that. Wait, we make it do that.
Yes.
We collectively together create this physical reality as a reality. If you look at it from quantum physics today, science today can prove you are not here. It can 100%. Prove it. Watch. An atom, the basic structure is a neutrino. Neutrinos make up atoms. You put an atom in an electron microscope, it's 99% empty space. Atoms make up molecules, and molecules make up cells. You put a molecule on an electron microscope, it's 99% empty space. And then think of this, and molecules make up cells. And cells are 99.99999% infinity to infinity. So that means, based on physical physics today, you are not here.
Right, but as it says in the Bible, and he spoke as God spoke, which is vibration, right? And then it was whatever people can quote it however they want to, but it was his voice
In
as
the
he's
beginning, it was
correct.
well, frequency.
So it's frequency and
watch.
vibration, correct?
Now you're going to, yes, harmonic. Yeah, see, now that's a different world than the political issues we're dealing with, but watch.
No.
We are spiritual beings. Wait, listen to me. It's not complicated, David. Listen. We are spiritual beings, great, powerful, and mighty spiritual beings in the story. In order to come to this level and to have the job that you have, you had to achieve great, powerful, and mighty, the definition of those words. You're a great, powerful, and mighty spiritual being with dignity, direction, and purpose. The only thing that can ever go wrong is you allow something to affect your dignity, which skews your direction and your purpose. The biggest fallacy of what people let happen is their opinion of themselves. And when you reduce the opinion of yourself by identifying yourself in other mechanisms or identities other than who you really are, then you get caught up in a bunch of bull. And then you're manipulated. So, we chose to be here, and we were chosen to be here. We were chosen to be here, and because there was a divine mission that only you could do, and there was nobody better than you to do it. Nobody. And then you chose because you saw opportunities to grow. That's the freaking bottom line. And then what has a dignity and integrity? And how do you hold that as a truth? Like, everybody, please make that call tomorrow, Friday, at the end of their, or when you get this, make that call to your congressman and senator and be against it. And one other small thing, add these things to your prayers. I'm a big believer in energetic medicine, and I'm a big believer in non-local healing. And when I see that it is as evil as you see it is, David, and as evil as your audience sees it is, well, that's why we're here. We have to fight for what's right. And these children are somebody's little babies. These children are somebody's little babies, and I know you're trying to save the world, Mr. President, and all the good hats and all that. But there comes a point where who knows what they'll go to bed to tonight? Who knows what that is? And that freaking bothers me, David. And it better bother everybody.
Bothers me too.
I know that. That's why you let me come on this show.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to stop. And everybody who's supporting the Dannion.com, I'm getting closer to the goal, David. So I won't be bothering everybody about donations when I get there. But if you feel like you want to help me, I'm dealing with veterans issues and families of veterans, because people don't understand what's called a military brat and what happens to the children of men who go off into combat and who come home completely changed, and the domestic issues and what the children grow up in. I have to be aware and supportive and pay attention to that. And that's what the Brinkley Foundation is about. And then other people who go through abuse. How I got into this is all the friends I have, David, that deal with veterans and abused women. And here comes a woman that's been abused by this guy. He's beat the children. And now she has to be the primary caregiver for him, because he's now 100% VA disabled, and what else can she do? I mean, I live in reality. I live in the bottom line of where you face death and you face reality, and I'm an old Marine and I see this, but I have enough, not faith, I have a belief system, because I have seen the world and how it's composed. And I have been through a process by how you leave this world more than 4 times. I've been through it. And I have watched this world from here being dead, standing beside myself in the hospital, looking at them, pounding on my chest, trying to resuscitate me. And I could describe in intimate detail who the nurses were, when they made the change, because the first one wore out while they were pounded. They broke a rib. They put the pads on me. I could identify each of those people, and I was dead. And you're talking about in 20 minutes or 25 minutes, I had to be resuscitated twice. So I need people to understand the power they possess. And I need the American people to understand so much is in our hands. And why we chose to be here at this time is that we're kind of making the difference that we're doing now. And I have watched this. And the solar flare activity, it will increase. We must now force the issue on where those children are. We must force that issue. And I'm sorry, we're not giving them any more time, David, to get all the stuff in a row to transform America like the president's doing.
Are you basically saying we have to get our affairs in order before this happens, and one of the affairs is getting right with the children, finding out where the children are, doing what's right for mankind?
I'm telling you. Now you're getting it.
Okay. Can we take the rest of this interview to 𝗬𝗏𝗠𝗏𝗏 so we could talk about it in detail, in depth?
I'm done. Thank you very much. Please, everybody, make your phone call, please. And please support Dannion.com. Thanks, David. Bless you. And listen, say a prayer, everybody, for those children tonight.
Absolutely. Well, why don't we just say a prayer right now? You want to lead it, Dannion?
I'll do it.
Go ahead.
Let us open up our hearts at this time and at this moment. That whatever's going on in our life, there's a little child that'll go to bed this night that doesn't have our love, our support, or is protected. And that is a part of a system we must expose so that we all see what we've been a part of, that we cleanse our soul, our mind, our hearts, and our understanding of ourselves and our divine nature, and truly get about being who we are and making this world as divinely focused and as wondrous as we can make it. Not religions, not institutions, not governments, but fellowships of people caring about what's right and what has power. Yes, in the name of divine grace and in the system that gives us the power to breathe. Amen.
Amen. Can I just say one thing too? You know, when my life got nuked, when I was boxing and I was 36-0 and I was this unbeaten protege and I had the whole world just swinging from my you-know-what, and when I got nuked and then I went and got knocked, you know, when I got stabbed in the throat and then I got knocked out shortly after that, and my pristine, perfect record went down the drain, and I lost all my friends and everyone that was around me, and then I became a drunk for 10 years. I realized something, and the most important lesson I learned is I really saw the worst side of humanity. I thought I was Superman with a cape flying over skyscrapers. I thought I was God's gift to the world. I was a tyrant. I could knock a man out easily with either hand whenever I wanted to in the fight. I mean, it was like a superpower, Dan. And when that came to an end, when that came to an end, and realized that's not who I am, and it's like God said, now you got to figure out who you really are. I realized the biggest trap here is our ego, and that's just what I realized.
Right.
The biggest fallacy, the biggest
and underestimating yourself.
Yeah, and the biggest illusion.
Yourself.
Right. Well, look what I'm doing today, right? Look what I'm doing today. I completely reinvented myself. But I really thought I was that guy for so long. And when that blew up, believe me when I tell you, I thought about doing this to myself, deleting myself every day for 10 years of hell. So I know what that was like. And I really believe the trap on this earth is our ego. I think it's who we perceive ourselves to, who we think we might be. I identified as a boxing champion. I see guys still that retire from boxing and they cannot handle it. Retire from fighting, retire from sports. They cannot handle the retirement and they die. They go up and party. They get a
first responder.
Correct. It's a death of an identity.
Because listen, the ego is fine because you made it here.
Right.
The fact that you're here means there's nobody better than you. They can roam through the heavens and they can go to hell and they won't find anybody better to do what you're here doing than you. End of story. The worst among us is the best there is.
Right.
Then there are the levels that control and manipulate this, the so-called reptilians or all of that level. And then there is another level, David, that is non-physical in its action. It would have to be dimensional. It would have to be the receiver of the benefit, okay? Because ethereal energy, physical energy, might and power is a damn delusion with an electron microscope. If you can see it, it's there. If you can hold it or think you touch it, it's not there. That's a lie. That's a lie. If you have a cell phone and you think you're physical, you lost your mind.
Yeah.
Okay, look at what you can do with a cell phone and its frequencies and harmonics.
Look what we're doing right here.
Think about it. So when you
look at the Zoom call.
Yeah, but when you look at it from that, its frequencies and harmonics transmitted through a certain frequency, usually microwave or cables under the ocean, made of glass, a round piece of glass traveling 1 million messages and 1 million frequencies. It is not satellites, it's cables under the water, David.
Yep.
All that satellite stuff, blah, 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 blah. And watch. What we have to realize is we're doing our job here, pretending we're physical. And we have to practice and work every day. That's what breath is about. Why you breathe is to maintain the level of fluctuation within the context of this domain. I tell people, don't get excited. Life is just a breathing exercise. Where would you be if you had to not automatically take the next breath? It would be every freaking thing. So what is life really? It's a breathing exercise. Well, once you lock into, well, look where you go, Dave. I can feel that energy. But once people lock into that as a reality, they begin to transform into their ethereal self. And let me tell you, I want to close with this so that you can do what you're doing. But the cultural legacy of the near-death experience, what I believe is this is what the near-death experience people should take away from it. Number one, you will not die. And every way you've ever been told you're going to die is not true. I don't care who's telling you it, and I don't care the reasons they're telling you it. I'm not saying they're liars. I'm saying it's just not true. And I have studied death for 50 years, right watching it. Okay. Number two, this is the most important one that amazes me every single day. 95% of everybody who's ever had a near-death experience says that they witnessed their body. They floated above their body and they watched it lying in the bed, lying in the car wreck, lying on the street. Well, if you're floating above your body, looking down at it, what does that say? You are not that body. Oh. Then who are you? If you're looking at it, then who are you? Well, this is not theory. I know. I have seen me do this. I am not this body. Okay. So what does that mean? You're either a solid, a liquid, or a gas. So which one of those are you? Okay. When you're in that ethereal state. Well, what a person has to look at is this. There's another form in quantum physics. It's called plasma. So when you think about plasma, you think about ethereal energies and frequencies and sound and harmonics and music, but you have to think of it first as being electrical. Electrical. Nothing happens in your body until it becomes electrical. Does your heart beat off of a chemical reaction? No. It takes 0.45 milliamps. I don't care how you get it there. And I don't care what combination and what you did, it still has to be electrical. Okay? Look at a cardiologist. He's either a plumber or an electrician.
Yeah. Okay. My dad is 100% dependent on a pacemaker. 100%. That
electrical. So that means he would have. So does he have a defibber?
Yeah.
So he has a defibber and a pacemaker.
Yeah, I guess it's all on the side here. I think the pacemaker acts as that, doesn't it? I mean, that's what the doctor told me.
What the pacemaker does is observes the blood pressure. It observes.
It's a circuit thing. It's making his heartbeat.
And it's close. He doesn't have enough. When you hear that, that's electrolytes.
Yeah.
And then you have to see what his ejection fraction is. But you need to get ready.
Yeah.
I mean, you have to see what he eats. All that now, David, is what he eats. How much nutrition is in what his diet is. I mean, you get it this wherever you want it. I'm just answering that question because You have to pay attention. That's where trace minerals mean every freaking thing. Trace minerals means every freaking thing when you're there. Everything. The body does three things: compound, enzyme, and solution reactions. Doesn't do anything else. Nothing. And it does all three of those to produce electricity. So his trace mineral and his basic B complexes are down to nothing if he's electrically having to make his heart beat.
Yeah.
That's electrolytes, trace minerals.
Yeah. Well,
I'm here for you.
I know. All right, folks, go to ninoscorner.tv. Dannion, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
All right,
All right, folks, go to ninoscorner.tv.
You.
You got it.